Last time, we saw the awakening of a villain who might be unstoppable. It's Moro. Thanks to the universal merge, Moro has gained a little bit more power than normal. And despite how strong our group is, he was able to escape. And it seems he might be unstoppable now. Will he be able to absorb the universe and take all its power for himself? We'll be discussing all that and more in this part 12 of What If Universe 6 and 7 were merged. Moro is amazed at his current speed. He's flying around so quickly and effortlessly. Although with that much power, he is using a lot of energy and is getting a bit hungry. He does note that his body is having a hard time maintaining the power too. So he's in a weird situation where he wants to eat more, but he also doesn't want to overwhelm himself. He doesn't have perfect control over his body yet, but he will get that. Going around nearby solar systems, absorbing them without any effort. They make for such great snacks. It's going to be a nice way to tide him over until everyone else shows up again. The entire Megaverse will be his next, and then the multiverse itself. The best part about all this new power is the fact that he has access to so many different abilities. The regeneration in Namekians, the intense godly ki of the Saiyans, Gohan's Ultra Instinct, hitting Granola's time warping abilities, as well as Granola's improved eyesight. And that's exactly why the power is so hard for him to maintain at the moment. But he has some time to himself. He can get better acclimated to this body and have it contain even more power. Maybe he could even merge with the multiverse itself, rather than simply just eating it. It's not out of the question, and that's actually what he aims to do now. He causes havoc around nearby galaxies. Back on the destroyed Namek, everyone is trying to monitor his movements. They could sense him even from that far away. The amount of energy he's giving off is incredible, and he's moving so rapidly too. Vados and Whis then appear on the planet next, with the Saiyans wondering if they're here to help, but obviously they can't fight. That's not why they're here. They're here to basically help them see what's going on. The angels are basically just here to deliver a message. The gods are working on a way to stop Moro. After all, after the whole multiversal merge, they do want to take their jobs more seriously, and that includes Beerus and Champa even though they don't lift a finger too much. Whis tells them that the gods are actually doing something here. Vados then pulls out her staff and projects an image of Moro towards the others. They watch as he flies around, only taking seconds to absorb entire solar systems. He's gone mad with power, and his hunger's grown out of control too. And with everything he eats, every moon, every planet, every star, every solar system, his power is ever increasing. And rather than using it to just power himself up, he's using this power to fortify his body, helping it contain all the other power he's gained. Well, they have an idea of what he's doing, and they already kind of knew what he was up to, so why are the angels here anyways? But Whis tells him to watch closely. Moro continues his rampage, but then stops midair, as if he senses something coming towards him. A powerful aura surrounds him as he taps into Ultra Instinct. This isn't the full Ultra Instinct either, it's just Omen because that's all Gohan had. But it's enough for him to dodge 2 attacks, as 2 fast purple beams of light comes towards him. Floating there out in the vacuum of space is Beerus and Champa. Moro is a bit surprised to actually see them here. He didn't expect them to get involved in the fight. But this could be interesting. Imagine if you were to take the powers of a god of destruction. Not just 1, 2 of them actually. That could be truly amazing, and their power must be delicious. He's salivating over the thought of how much power they have. It's going to be a truly great feast. And Beerus commends Moro for his effort. His power is truly astonishing, and honestly, Beerus isn't sure if any of the mortals will be able to defeat him. Even if they all combine their powers together, it seems this magician has grown too powerful. But Champa says they're going to have to put a stop to it. They already had one problem with Zeno and they don't want another. Besides, if Moro destroys all the planets around them, who's going to have any good food left? The only ones who should go around the universe destroying and eating things are them. And Moro laughs at this. What are they supposed to do then? It's like they said, he's grown so powerful now that the other mortals can't defeat him. He doesn't assume the gods of destruction are much higher up, but even if they are, he should surpass them by now. And Beerus says he's right. But there's 2 things Moro should know about. First of all, his power is great, but his body can't contain the power. It's already overflowing out of him, and they could tell that Moro is struggling to maintain it. His aura itself is so powerful and is leaking so much ki that it illuminates entire galaxies around him as his energy flows out in every direction. The aura itself is even dangerous. The closer someone gets to Moro, the more damage the aura causes just because there's so much energy flowing out of him at once. It's explosive. And they don't think that Moro can maintain that power for too long. More importantly though, they address what Moro said about the gods of destruction. By now, he's actually stronger than most gods of destruction. Beerus says they definitely would have a challenge, and it would take at least 2 or 3 of them to defeat him, which makes the magician smile. So they probably can't defeat him either, right? It's hopeless. But Champa says that they were just talking about other gods of destruction. These 2, they're different. They've been training with their angels for hundreds of years now. The others have even seen it on Beerus' planet. Ever since the universal merged, they didn't want to get more serious after all. Beerus says they can't blame Moro for not knowing because the gods never really do fight. Especially Beerus and Champa, who are so far above the others. But they tell him he's going to get a nice treat before he dies. He's going to see the full wrath of these twin destroyers, something that most people won't ever get to see in their lives. They tell him to consider it an honor that they even have to use this power against him. They're especially mad that Moro is destroying all their food sources though, and Beerus doesn't want his rivals to be destroyed by him either. They're going to be fighting with nothing held back. Not because they want to use their full power, but because their anger is basically making them use it. Their ki swells up, overwhelming Moro's. His aura is pushed back, destroyed by the raw destructive power from theirs. Moro tries to power up a little bit more too, activating his cerulean red eyes, combining it with the power of Ultra Instinct as well. He tells these 2 they're fools to stand up against him. In that brief moment when he stopped time, he made sure to take everybody's powers. They're up against an entire arsenal of abilities. And he's glad that he's going to get to fight them. They'll make for delicious snacks and a great test for his strength right now. His power is so grand that they won't surpass him, no matter how much they bluff about their powers. But there's one thing Moro doesn't address. They're right. His power is going to overflow if he keeps fighting like this. He doesn't want to overload himself. The energy's too much and he needs to fortify his body even more. By fighting, that's taking away from that. But he has no choice, although this will be a great battle because he'll be able to get all of their abilities as well. The twins vanish from sight, then appearing on either side of Moro as he blocks both their attacks at once. A punch from Beerus and a kick from Champa. They begin dashing around the universe, flying at such immense speeds that they can only be tracked by Whis and Vados. And Moro's having a tough time. He's desperately trying to dodge their attacks, but also trying to attack them as well. This Ultra Instinct isn't perfect. He can't dodge every attack, especially because he's facing two of them at once. And Moro's at his full power, but he can tell that they're not right now. But Granola's eyesight kinda does help him. He's able to see vital points on Beerus and Champa, trying his best to strike them. But they're so quick, it won't work. The only way he can do it is by completely stopping time. Which is something that he can't do in rapid succession. It's something that kinda does take a lot of energy out of him because he hasn't really experienced this much. He briefly stops time, only for half a second. But at the speeds they're moving, that's an immense amount of time. And in that split second, he lands thousands of punches on Beerus, all aimed at different vital points. And at the same time, with his other hand, he launches thousands of blasts at Champa, also aimed at vital points. But somehow, even in the stop time, they're still able to move. What the hell is this? Are they so fast that they even transcend that? As time starts flowing normally again, Moro is hit at rapid speeds by both of them. His attacks actually did damage them a bit, but they also damaged Moro. His body's growing more unstable. And when he did make contact with Beerus, Beerus' aura actually did hurt him a bit. Beerus says they're not stupid. They surrounded themselves with their raw destructive energy. And sure, some of his attacks made it through, but most didn't. Champa barely took any damage. And even though Beerus did take some more, that means Moro took some of his own because he actually made contact. Moro desperately tries to survive. This is what he'll do. Next time, he'll stop time, and he'll be able to grab onto one of their necks. He'll coat his arm in so much energy that their destructive power won't be able to destroy his arm. He'll steal their powers and use it against them. This fight is so explosive that it's leaving permanent scars on the Megaverse. There's brilliant streaks of light left behind from wherever everybody's flying, and from when they strike each other. And Beerus and Champa are trying to control themselves. They need to balance out each other's power. One of them alone could actually take on Moro pretty easily, but there's a reason there's two of them here. For example, if Beerus was just fighting alone, his destructive power would be more than enough to get rid of Moro. But it would be so explosive that it would probably destroy the multiverse. Not just this Megaverse, but every other universe around them. They've dealt with this before, and now they know how to work around it. That's why Champa's there to balance it out. With every action Beerus takes, Champa takes an inverse action. This means they are limiting themselves a bit, but they're still able to use immense power. In this way, the universe itself isn't at risk. Sure, there's a couple scars here and there, but nothing that can't be fixed later, especially for what they have in mind. Moro only has one shot at this. He charges all of his energy, and stops time once more, this time extending it to a full second. And again, at the speed they're fighting, that's basically an eternity. And amidst the time stop, he channels all of his power into one hand, trying to fortify it and protect it as much as possible. His body's already growing unstable, and he needs to expel the power somehow. But at the same time, if he can get access to their powers, that'll help him kill them quickly. It'll let him survive this encounter and continue onwards. He reaches a hand out, going right through Beerus' aura and grabbing his neck. Or at least, that's the plan. Beerus' aura suddenly flares up even more, and he turns back looking at Moro. Did he really think that stopping time would work on people as fast as themselves? Moro's arm is scorched by Beerus' aura, but he grabs onto Moro's arm, completely destroying it. And then Moro feels a hand on his other arm. Time resumes, and then Champa's there. Both of his arms have been destroyed, with Beerus simply lifting a finger up, then poking the gem on his head, cracking it as an overwhelming amount of energy flows out, with a geyser of ki launching across the universe from it, raising anything in its path. Moro's body begins morphing, unable to contain the power. This can't be happening. He got too greedy, but he didn't expect it to be like this. He thought he'd be able to maintain this power. But his last sight is the twin brothers standing together, charging all their power together, each with a hand outstretched. They tell Moro that he clearly doesn't know who he's dealing with. He shouldn't have underestimated them. Moro's aura is completely crushed, overwhelmed by the aura of Beerus and Champa. And it's not just that, the aura is erased. The power just does not exist now. But they do commend him. They actually had to go full power here, which made the battle much more fun than they expected. If he weren't facing the two strongest gods of destruction, he might have won. He might have been able to absorb the multiverse, and he definitely would have beat them then. But that's not happening here. Not today, not ever. Because now Moro is going to be gone permanently, with each launching a combined Hakai, completely erasing the magician, leaving nothing left. Champa turns to Beerus and says that was a good battle, and Beerus is impressed. It's been a while since they had to use that strength, and it was nice fighting alongside Champa for once. He wouldn't have thought that Champa would have gotten to this level. But Champa reminds him, they're twins. Of course they're going to be close to each other. Back on Namek, everyone is just watching in disbelief, with Whis and Vados happy that it's over. Looks like their lords got it done just like they said. But Vegeta asks, if they could have gotten involved this whole time, why'd they wait until now? Well, Whis says they did want to get involved at first, but there was an issue. For one, they wanted to make sure any damage could be restored. Namek's Dragon Balls are gone, and as for Earth and Cereal, their Dragon Balls probably wouldn't have been strong enough. So they gathered the Super Dragon Balls while everyone else was fighting Moro. They actually did think the mortals would have been able to beat him, but they didn't realize he had that much power in store. The Super Dragon Balls are basically a backup plan. They didn't want to fight the battle for the mortals off the bat, but at a certain point, Moro did become their issue, so they didn't really have a choice. And that's where the two are headed right now. They're getting the Super Dragon Balls because they got them in a safe place. Not only did they have to gather them, but they had to make sure they were really far away from Moro. Especially because by the time they got them, Moro had already grown so much stronger. Imagine how powerful he would have been if he got the Super Dragon Balls, whether that meant absorbing them for himself or using a wish from them. And yeah, they kinda did cause more damage by going this route, but it doesn't matter to them because in the end, they're able to use the Super Dragon Balls to restore everything, healing all the scars that Moro created, as well as restoring all the planets and the people that were destroyed. But then Kappa brings up a pretty good question. If they had the Super Dragon Balls and they're that powerful, why didn't they ever restore the universes? Why did they keep them merged? Whis and Vados laugh. That's a little beyond them. But, just as I mentioned in the first part, it's actually because of Zeno. Thinking it would be pretty entertaining to see two universes merge into one. So, they just kept the Megaverse as is. But this is the first time that the Super Dragon Balls have been used in a long while. Champa and Beerus then come to Namek too, telling the mortals not to get any ideas. They only used it because they didn't really have any other option to restore the universe. However, while the mortals won't be using the Super Dragon Balls for themselves, this will have consequences. It's been so long since they've been used, and Super Shenron has a pretty noticeable presence. Also from the aftermath of this, Goku is now going to try and replicate Ultra Instinct after having seen it once. He thinks he could probably pull it off. He is good at copying things after all, and Kappa wants to work with Goku to attain it. Vegeta and Caulifla though aren't really too interested. They're more so interested in the God of Destruction abilities that Champa and Beerus are showing off, wondering if the two destroyers will be able to show them. That battle was awesome. Caulifla's hyped up and really wants to get that power for herself. And of course Vegeta's intrigued. But everything's back to normal thankfully, and hopefully they're not going to encounter a strong enemy like Moro again. He was far too powerful, the mortals had no hope of defeating him. And, if left unchecked, even the destroyers wouldn't be able to kill him. He already surpassed most of them, but thankfully Champa and Beerus are much stronger. Back on Earth one day, Piccolo's meditating like normal, watching as Gohan is training Broly and Kale, trying to get them to control their power. They're making some great progress, but Gohan says they still have a long way to go, although he's glad at how much they're growing. They're grateful for this because they've always been kind of scared of their power, and Gohan tells them not to worry, they'll be able to get a grasp on it soon. Besides, if anything does go wrong, they have Gohan and Piccolo here to stop it. As Piccolo's meditating, he gets even deeper in thought. There's so many questions he still has about the Megaverse, so many things that he hasn't seen before, especially after seeing the Super Dragon Balls. It makes him wonder different things about the Namekians, because there had to be a Namekian that created those ones, right? It could be interesting to look into. But as he's meditating, he hears voices in his head. Voices of the Namekians that have been long fused into him, such as Saunao and Pirina, as well as Nail, who's the main one at the forefront. There's dozens of voices, all from the Dragon Clan and the Warrior Namekians. But Nail's voice speaks up. If he'd like to learn more about Namekian history, there is one more thing that he should know about it. One thing that may be deep in his memories, but something that he'd never thought of. Has he ever heard the tale of Lord Slug? No, Piccolo hasn't. He could learn more about Zalama later. Looks like he's gonna have to go through the rest of Namek's history first. And remember, this is two Nameks, not just Universe 7. And that's where the history of Universe 6's Namek comes in. Far back, there was an old, wise, yet evil Namekian, originating from Universe 6. It makes sense that Piccolo didn't know about this. At least not until now. This didn't have anything to do with the history of his Namek from Universe 7. But millennia ago, before the universal merge, this Namekian existed. He's been searching for the Super Dragon Balls for a while. He tried using Namek's Dragon Balls, trying to gain unstoppable power. The warriors fought him off, banishing him from the planet. But his quest for the Super Dragon Balls still continued, unbeknownst to the rest of the Namekians. They don't know much from beyond that. They don't even know if Lord Slug is still alive. But with the universal merge, it might have been easier for him to gather the Super Dragon Balls, if at all possible. At the very least, there would probably be more planets with Namekians on them. Which is good because any Dragon Balls will help him towards his conquest. And it turns out, Slug is still out there. Over all these years, Slug has visited various planets, trying to extend his life as much as possible, and at one point he did get a set of Dragon Balls from a smaller planet, able to wish for eternal youth. That planet's Namekian destroyed the Dragon Balls, forcing Slug to find another. He found another dragon, but it was unable to find the location of the Super Dragon Balls. But Slug at least has eternal youth now, and far more knowledge than ever before. But after all this time, he finally has a way to find them. He just needed to locate one of them, and that would have let him find the others. He would be able to create some sort of device to locate them. And that's exactly how this arc helped him. Slug has been keeping a close track of the constellations. He knows the location of everything in this universe. Every star, every planet, anything that could be Super Dragon Ball sized. And he notices that 7 giant bodies have shifted. The Super Dragon Balls are dormant for so long that they blended in with everything. But of course, he could see that Super Shenron was summoned. He could feel it. And he noticed 7 suspicious celestial bodies moving around. Those must be the Super Dragon Balls. He just needs to find one of them. And even though it's unusable for now, he can gather its signature, using that to find the rest in another year. It takes a bit, but he's tracked down one of them, and now all he needs to do is wait 1 year. And unlimited power will be in his hands. This is where we'll leave off for now. What'd you guys think about this part, and what's going to happen next time? Leave your thoughts and suggestions in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already, especially if you want to see more videos like this, or if you just want to help with the channel. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.